Welcome to our simple vinyl pouch tutorial. This project's a super easy, beginner-friendly pattern that uses scraps of vinyl, scraps of zip, fabric, binding, all sorts of things to actually combine and make these handy little pouches. It's very hard to make just one. So let's get started. Take your zip and your piece of plastic, it doesn't really matter about size, and you're going to stitch, well firstly clip and then stitch your zipper tape onto one of the ends of your pouch. Now when you're working with vinyl you need to remember to use a 3.5 stitch length because small stitches will perforate the vinyl and can cause the bag to actually just disintegrate. That's another reason why the binding is handy, but this is the simple version first. So there you see we're pressing down the vinyl and bring up the other end to the other side of the zip. This is kind of creating a continuous circle if you like. Clip that side as well and machine across there as well. So there you have it. Now you've got this continuous circle. Now the zip pull is on the inside, you can see there, and it's very hard to film vinyl. And you smush down your pouch. Now this one's about 1 inch from the top of the zip, but you can smush it down with more at the top or less at the top, depending what you think you're going to store in it. Take care to make sure the open ends of the zip are together, as Demelza did there with the clip. And then machine a seam down each of the long sides. There you go. There she's showing you that she's sewn that side. And the other side too. Do use clips, not pins with this project. Now she's holding those ends of the zip together very carefully. You can now trim it, which, there we go, trim and then turn through. And here she's just doing a bit of slow-mo on poking out the corner. I find the corner of a ruler to be good for this. Not necessarily a big quilting ruler, like a little old-fashioned wooden school ruler. Something like that works really well, but be gentle. And there you have it. That's basically the very simple down-to-earth pouch. I keep bobbins in them, machine feet, you can keep makeup in them, patchwork, oh you name it. So here we're taking a strip of binding. This is just a 1.5 inch strip. It's not biased, it doesn't need to be, and it's been put through the binding maker, and Demelza's machining one right sides together with the zip tape. She's machining one strip onto one side of the zip. There she's just pushing the zip out of the way so that she can continue sewing. And when you push that pull, the zip pull to one end, do remember that there's no ends on a continuous zip if you're using that, and you could easily fly the end off, so be careful. Here she's just trimming down the vinyl because it was a little bit too big. Fold over the binding, and what you're aiming for here is to fold it over sufficiently for it to cover the stitching that you've already done. Take your time, fold it neatly, clip them in place and then machine across there. Just a little word about when you encounter a zip pull. This applies to anything, not just these vinyl pouches. When you reach the point fairly close to the pull, make sure your needle is down, lift your presser foot and push the zip out of the way underneath the presser foot. Sometimes there's an extra bit of presser foot lift, shall we say, that helps you to sort of lift with one hand and push the zip pull out of the way with the other hand. Sometimes I find it's easier if you flip the pull over and pull it from the back. Sometimes you can push it from the front. You have to fiddle, but the really important thing is to have the needle down when you do that and lift the foot. Now, there you go. She's bound both of those now. And there's a bit of sort of finger pressing and neatening. And there we have it smushed, ready. And again, take the zip pull sort of halfway down so that you don't have to worry about it when you're binding the outer edges. A bit more trimming, and again making sure that those open ends of the zip are together very close, and clip those first. sew those long side seams. Now here Demelza's using a sort of 1/4 inch, if not less, seam, and if you think about it, if you're going to bind it, then you don't need to worry really. Now for absolute beginners, I would recommend this stage of machining first and then binding. However, once you've made a few of these pouches, you might actually find that you can fold your binding over at the same time, so that you're actually attaching the binding and sewing together the pouch all in one action, which can't be a bad thing, because the more you sew vinyl, the more holes you put in it, and the more perforated. Now you'll notice then when Demelza was pinning on that binding that she flipped the two ends around to the back, and in a minute when she pulls this out, you're going to see why that made a nice neat finish. So here it is with the sides folded down, and you can see from the other side. Now look, when you pull them up, you get a nice little folded end. Can you see that? Bit of finger pressing, and then you can make a little corner, fold once, fold twice, and clip. And again, the name of the game is to cover the stitching. It's worth mentioning now, as Demelza finishes this off, you can actually bind on the outside. There's no reason that you have to put the binding on the inside. You do obviously have to with the zip, but for these side bits you can actually put your binding on the outside, and you'll see in a minute that Demelza has done that with some of hers. I did think it was worth mentioning a little bit about vinyl. You can buy it on Amazon, and I believe you can buy it in various sewing shops, though we don't have a lot of those here in Ireland. What you can do though is you can often pick it up in homeware stores where they sell vinyl on the roll for tablecloths. There's often a clear version, and it's usually very inexpensive, so it's worth picking up a couple of meters. Well, that's the simple vinyl pouch, a great beginner-friendly project. It brings our collection of vinyl projects to an end, and you can find all of the patterns together in a bargain bundle over on our Etsy shop. The link is in the description below. If you've enjoyed sewing along with us, please do like and subscribe, and you can also find us on Instagram for more sewing projects and inspiration. Thank you so much for watching. Happy sewing!